Hello, hello, and welcome to Sports on the Rocks with Ken Larimer. I'm your host, Ken Larimer. And no, we don't have a blender. We're all out of mint. And the espresso machine? On the fritz. So all we'll be serving you is a big glass of what is happening around the sports world. On today's show, the NFL draft came and went. We talk about the Yankees' poor decisions. Kelsey, Plum, and Darren Waller, you've been cut off. And of course, last call. As always, you can connect with the show at SportsOTRocks on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you could always find new episodes of Sports on the Rocks with Ken Larimer on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And now, let's start the show. The NFL draft once again has come and gone. This year, the NFL draft hosted in Detroit, breaking all types of live attendance records. 275,000 fans showing up for night one, for round one, to watch Caleb Williams get drafted by the Chicago Bears with the first pick of the 2024 NFL draft. 775,000 people showed up to watch the three-day event live in Detroit. Breaks all type of NFL draft attendance records, which, by the way, will probably be broken again next year, as the event will be held in Green Bay, Wisconsin, both inside and outside of Lambeau Field. And if there's one thing I know, it's how much Green Bay, Wisconsin loves football. They will be there. I'm predicting now, over 1 million people are going to be live at the NFL Draft 2025. And the draft class isn't even that exciting. And that'll prove how much people love the NFL in Green Bay and how much they love football. But people always ask me every season, they say, Ken, strangers, really. I go, how do you know my name? They go, Ken, how excited are you for this year's NFL draft? And most years, I'm not very, partly because the Dolphins don't pick in the top 10 most years. And if they do, they squander it. I'm still a part of the Ted Ginn family, which is beautiful. But usually we're pretty good. Or we lose our pick to tampering fines. But that's another night. The best way I can explain my excitement for the NFL draft every season is like a poop. You know how when you have to poop and you're on your way home and that poop intensifies in your gut the closer you get to home? How does a poop know? Nobody knows. It's science. But for me, the NFL draft is my poop. Or the NFL draft would be my home. The poop would be my excitement for the NFL draft. 30 minutes, I'm about to poop my pants. 29 minutes, 55 seconds, I'm changing my underwear. And this year was no different. As soon as they start showing that green room and everybody's looking fly as hell, and we see Caleb Williams with the painted nails and the Chrome Hearts custom suit, which, by the way, was fantastic, but I'll let him explain it himself.
So I went with a double-breasted zip-up. Yep. You don't really see too many people with a double-breasted zip-up, so I went double-breasted zip-up. Chrome Hearts, stacking the Chrome Hearts from smallest to largest. I got it on the pants leg. I got it on the back as a monochrome. And then I got, we come subtle. Nice, just very subtle. Nothing, no big change, no anything like that. Classy, unique, one of one.
My boy Fly. By far and away, first pick, nobody even questioned it. And this season, quarterbacks, there was a run on quarterbacks. 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 picks. The first time since 1983 where 6 quarterbacks were taken within the first 12 picks. That draft, Elway and Marino bookend that first round. This season, the Bears hope to replicate grabbing Caleb Williams with the first pick. And, I love that he wore the painted nails and the fire Chrome Heart suit. He looks different. He looks like a Devo. Especially after this season. He's feeding off the haters. Everybody gave him shit about the tears in his mom's arms after USC lost to Washington Week 10, basically ending his college football career. And, of course, when he attended that USC women's game in March, and he's rocking the pink phone case and the pink lip gloss and the pink nails. And then he has this to say when everybody gave him shit about it.
Nails are clear. Lips are pink. Your girl love them.
I mean, the guy really just gives off star energy. Whether his play on the field will match that, we'll see, because the Chicago Bears giving him everything he needs to succeed, grabbing Rome Odunze, wide receiver from Washington, who falls to 9, and why he falls to 9, I'll explain in a second. But also adding, of course, last year, DJ Moore, this offseason, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, tight end. Justin Fields had most of these tools to his disposal, and he'd never had time to pass. So will Caleb Williams replicate that, or will Caleb Williams be his own man? We're going to find out. But the one thing we know for sure, those nails are going to be looking fire. But in that green room, everybody looking great, everybody looking sharp. They show Cam Newton, who's interviewing players this year on the red carpet, which I love. I love Cam Newton. But he's dressed in this suit that makes him look like, how they would dress the devil in a Broadway show. I don't know who dresses Cam Newton. Maybe he dresses himself. I feel like Cam Newton dressing himself is like when you tell a toddler he can wear whatever he wants to school that day, and they end up putting on a cape and rain boots and, a bathing suit bottom, like Big Daddy, like the kid in Big Daddy. But Cam Newton, he does look sharp, but again, the devil in a Broadway show. But again, quarterbacks in the 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 picks. Number 2, LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, who had a fantastic year, Heisman winner, goes 2 to the Commanders. And, of course, they traded away Sam Howell, their project rookie quarterback that did not do very well from UNC. He goes to the Seahawks. Good riddance for them. The Commanders moving forward with QB Jaden Daniels. So we'll see how that works out. North Carolina's quarterback Drake May goes 3 to the Pats, who look to replace Mac Jones, who they sent off to the Jags. Sayonara, goodbye. Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy squeezed his way into the top 10 after the Vikings traded up 1 spot to 10 to get him over the Jets. And the Jets, of course, sending their quarterback, their rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson, to the Broncos, who will be competing with Jarrett Stidham and also Bo Nix, Oregon's Bo Nix, who went to the Broncos at 12. And the most surprising pick of the night, the one everybody's talking about, that had everybody confused, is the Falcons taking Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th pick in the NFL draft. Of course, after just signing Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million contract in the offseason. Now, this pick happens. Obviously, Penix Jr. is a slightly older quarterback. Diana Rossini reports shortly after, the team believes they won't have a top pick with Cousins under center the next few years, and now is the time to get a great one. What? Why would you not want to put tools around Kirk Cousins? And again, they're taking Michael Penix at 8. Rome Odunze was available at 9. You take Rome Odunze, you pair him up with, Kirk Cousins, give him somebody to throw to. I mean, why would you not want to appease this guy you just paid $100 million to, $180 million to? Now, I was reading more into this. $100 million is the only amount that's guaranteed. And also, reading more into it, the Falcons believe that Kirk Cousins is good for 1-2 years, and they want to have their next quarterback on deck. Kirk Cousins starts out mediocre. They got Michael Penix. Obviously, next year's draft class, not super fantastic, or the year after. Cousins, not very happy about this whole situation. Not surprising. You go to a new team, you're looking to start fresh after leaving the Vikings, and they draft a rookie quarterback before you even take the field. A big fuck you, I would take it as. And Cousins, at least his agent, felt fairly similar. Comments from Mike McCartney, Kirk Cousins' agent, came out shortly after the pick and said, yes, it was a big surprise. We had no idea this was coming. The truth is the whole league had no idea this was coming. We got no heads up. Kirk got a call from the Falcons when they were on the clock. That was the first we heard. It never came up in any conversation. Now, I don't know why the Falcons owe Kirk Cousins a phone call about their draft picks. Who does he think he is, Tom Brady? I don't know. But, of course, Kirk Cousins will come and say all the right things. He's Kirk Cousins. He comes out. He'll be like, I wish he does. I wish him well, and I'm going to tutor him the best I can, and blah, 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 blah. And Michael Penix will say all the right stuff. He'll say, I'm looking to learn under one of the most legendary quarterbacks of all time, da-da-da-da-da. But what will happen is anytime Kirk Cousins sucks, which is guaranteed, at least in prime time, or for some games, not every game he'll be fantastic, the fans will be calling for Michael Penix Jr. to be starting. Also, in training camp, they'll say it's not a competition, but you better believe there's going to be a lot of comments coming out about how fantastic Michael Penix's arm is and how quick he looks and how statuesque Kirk Cousins may be in the pocket. And there'll be competing reports from training camp, I'm calling it now, that will make fans want Michael Penix on the field and want him now. And I don't blame them, because that's why you take a quarterback, because you want them to start. You want them to be the new face of your organization. But Kirk Cousins, poor guy, I feel for him. He'll cry himself to sleep in $100 million, like Donald Duck, or Scrooge McDuck sitting on the pile of cash. I feel really bad for him. But this wide receiver class, I think, will be the most talked about for years to come. Wide receivers taken in this class, tied for the most in the first round, which was 7, tied for most with 2004. Wide receivers going in this draft, Ohio State University's Marvin Harrison Jr. goes to the Cards at pick 4. He will learn very quickly how miserable it is to play in Arizona. If Kyler Murray can stay healthy, maybe they'll do something special. I can almost guarantee he will be open most of the time. And if he's not, he's going to be one of those wide receivers where you throw it in his area, in his vicinity, and you expect him to catch it. And when he doesn't catch it, it will be surprising. He feels like he's going to have, his dad was fantastic. His dad holds all types of records for receptions with a single quarterback in your career with Peyton Manning. He seems to be a generational talent, and I think Marvin Harrison arguably could have gone higher. He's the type of talent where you take the best player available and it's him, but not the only fantastic wide receiver in this class. Again, as I said, I think this will be talked about for years to come. LSU's Malik Neighbors goes to the Giants at 6. And a little funny tidbit about him. He has comments where he doesn't know his quarterback's name.
I actually did talk to Daniel Jones. He was just like, I'm happy that you're here. We're gonna hit the ground running, and then learn. He's gonna learn about me. I'm gonna learn about him, and we're gonna get together.
He's gonna learn it very quick, because he'll be bitching at him for the rest of the season as Daniel Jones or Janiel Dones, as he likes to call him. Maybe it's his buddy. Maybe it's like a pet name, Janiel Dones. They're going to have an interesting relationship, as he is going to have a much different experience than he had with Jaden Daniels. Of course, Washington's Rome Odunze goes to the Bears. He will have plenty of opportunity to be successful behind Caleb Williams and tandem with Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, and DJ Moore. If anything, he will underperform this season, because there is so much opportunity to catch the ball all over the field. But knowing DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, I think he will probably be close to the number 1 wide receiver soon due to injury. I'm calling it now. Week 4, Keenan Allen, hamstring injury, will be playing through it for the rest of the season. Calling it now. I don't wish harm on Keenan Allen. I love Keenan Allen. I would take Keenan Allen on my team. And I have. Whenever I've done fantasy football, I'm always like, Keenan Allen, great value. He's fantastic. And then week 4, you're like, oh, great. He tweaked his hamstring again, and he is playing through a hamstring injury the rest of the season. So, Rome Odunze, again, probably looking closer to a number 1 or number 2 once Keenan Allen gets injured. LSU's Brian Thomas Jr. goes to the Jags at 23. Played behind Malik Neighbors. They were a fantastic tandem with Jaden Daniels. whether Jaden Daniels made them look good or they made Jaden Daniels look good, I would say, how did LSU not win more games last year? They had incredible offensive weapons. They played in a tough SEC, but I don't know. But Brian Thomas Jr. making headlines for this NFL draft, not because of his play on the field, but because of his parents' comments in the green room. When Brian Thomas Jr.'s mom gives the most literal answer of all time.
Sandra, how far has this family come? We came from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And rounding out first round noteworthy wide receivers, we have Texas's Xavier Worthy going to Kansas City at 28, who the Buffalo Bills just fuck us always. They fuck us always. I hate the Buffalo Bills. They trade down with KC, allowing KC to come up and get Xavier Worthy, who I believe was one of the fastest players at the Combine. So Kansas City struggling with the wide receiver position. Rashee Rice crashing cars in street races, who's already back at training camp, so not the biggest deal. Already working out with Patrick Mahomes. But we'll see how the rest of the season works out if this kid can stay out of trouble because he's fantastic. Replacing Tyreek Hill like nobody's business. Now adding Xavier Worthy after trading up with the Bills. The Bills within the AFC division fucking themselves. So KC taking at number 28, Texas Xavier Worthy. It was a fun class. Obviously, the Chargers, one of the other noteworthy picks, taking Joe Alt, who is fawned over with internet memes of him being the most humongous man. He could be two men. He could be two men in a giant man suit. Being one of the most humongous, colossal human beings ever to be filmed. His dad also an former NFL player, which is not surprising, but they show Joe Alt and they show him in not in the green room because offensive lineman who is that good would not be in the green room. Of course, he's in a log cabin somewhere surrounded by family, sitting in the middle, looking like a giant amongst townspeople. He looks like he grabs one of his family members and just pops him in like M&Ms. It was hilarious. Jim Harbaugh also coming out with his first draft as the Chargers coach, commenting on Joe Alt, saying, I know the question is going to come up about weapons. We look at offensive linemen as weapons, which is the most Jim Harbaugh comment ever. And then, of course, we get this video of Jim Harbaugh and Joe Alt meeting each other for the first time, having an out white off as Joe Alt comes and Jim Harbaugh steps up and does the fake pants pull up, and they look like they're just two dads hanging out talking about a carburetor of some sort. But families really highlighted this draft for me. Obviously, we knew Caleb Williams was going one. There was a handful of talent like Marvin Harrison Jr. coming through. We wanted to know where J.J. McCarthy, if he was going to go in the first round in the top 10, where all the quarterbacks were going. But what stood out to me specifically was the funny family celebrations and highlights. And the memes, of course, that took over the internet because of it. We already talked about Brian Thomas Jr.'s mom, the most literal answer of all time. We got Joe Alt looking like a giant boy. And then we have this picture of Brock Bowers in his draft room at home, surrounded by family, going to the Oakland Raiders, and Brock Bowers' dad looking almost worried and red in the face when he is drafted to the Raiders. And the joke on Twitter was it looked like they were saying he looks like a man whose family doesn't know he's not allowed back in Las Vegas, which is hilarious. But the one thing that I saw that was weird was the executive room hugging video clips versus the family celebrating. I don't know who decided that getting an inside view of the executive room as they take the pick is a fun idea. It's like a look inside. Like, we all know they're boring as shit. I don't need to see them all pat each other on the back and shake hands when they make the pick. Like, I guess a lot of work goes into some of these picks. But a lot of them is just like, who is like, oh, we like this guy here, boom, and then they all shake hands. It's like the corniest thing to me is getting an inside look in the executive draft rooms. Like, it's not exciting. I want to see the families. I would rather get live feeds into the families as their sons get drafted, and the hugging and the crying and the celebration of finally we made it as a group effort to get somebody to the NFL. It takes a lot of time and money and dedication. And I don't care to see executives celebrating. I just don't. Never excited to see executives celebrating. Also, Kool-Aid McKinstry, coming out of Alabama, goes to the New Orleans Saints. And, already after his draft, comes up with one of the cooler brand collaborations I've ever seen. And who do you think it's with? Kool-Aid. Of course it's with Kool-Aid. And here is him hanging out with Mr. Kool-Aid himself, the Kool-Aid man. Kool-Aid and Kool-Aid together as one. One of the smartest, no-brainer. It's like if a player came out and his name was Band-Aid Johnson. And he comes out and you're like, I mean, do I have to do it for you? Come on, Band-Aid. Or, Tushy O'Reilly. Come on, Tushy O'Reilly. Somebody's give this man a toilet paper collaboration now. Give him a Dude Wipes collaboration. But Kool-Aid making one of the smartest brand decisions I've ever seen, and just a no-brainer. That I wonder if they sat. I would like to see that executive room when they're deciding to give Kool-Aid a Kool-Aid sponsorship. Are they sitting there and they're like, all right, what are we gonna do? And then finally there's like an intern in the back, I'd imagine. And they're like, hey, I have an idea. And then, of course, one of the executives go, hey, that gives me an idea, as they typically do. And then they all shake hands and they celebrate for their great idea. But yeah, couple other funny moments from the NFL draft. We had Keon Johnson going to the Bills and already making his mark as being one of the more stingy NFL draftees in recent history. As in his press conference, he decides to take up a few minutes to talk about how affordable Macy's jackets are in the offseason.
Coat from here, huh? Got you a coat from here? Nah, man, you forgot I went to school in Michigan for 2 years? Guess where I got this from, though? That's what I'm saying, you gotta guess. You're gonna be wrong, though, but guess. Time is up. Nah. Macy's, what you mean? They be on sale on the rack, all the colors. Right. Look, $79, $89, nice little deal. You can get the trench coat for like $100. Nice little. I'll take it up personally. I might go get some more colors. I need a blue one and another red one. I shop like my mom. I get my coats in the summertime. You gotta shop a season or two before, just in case, and they be cheaper. Cause you go at Thanksgiving, everybody in Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying?
We also had some moms playing defense in NFL draft parties. We had Olu Fashanu's mom blocking out his, I think, girlfriend, not allowing her to steal the moment from her son and from her family. And Isaiah Wilson's mom, who was not playing with Isaiah Wilson's, I think, girlfriend as well, who not allowing her to steal the moment and something that will last forever. The internet, of course, eating this up, saying, it's a white-black thing. Why do the players all have white girlfriends? What's with the white girlfriends? It's stealing the spotlight from their boyfriends. Just like black moms to stand up for their sons and block out these girls who are trying to steal their shine. I had a not as cynical look on it because I had an ex-girlfriend. And when I graduated college, she was my current girlfriend at the time. We had broken up, gotten back together just in time for me to graduate. Lucky me. We are no longer together, by the way. I'll preface that. And she was in a lot of my graduation photos. And that's something to this day I regret. That I have all these pictures, which I don't even know if I have them anymore, but I had all these pictures taken at my college graduation. From Florida Atlantic University, by the way. Go Owls. And I wish somebody would have stepped in and said, hey, Ken, just take some pictures on your own because you never know what's going to happen. Or just say, hey, Ken, stand over there. Whatever your name is, stand over here. Let's just get some pictures of Ken. So I wish my mom or my family would have stepped in and said, hey, but in a nice way. And I'm not an NFL football player. That was a college graduation. So I can only imagine putting in a whole lifetime's worth of work and dedication and money and sacrifice. And you see your son sitting there with his college or high school girlfriend, who some of these girls might have just started being their girlfriends, You never know behind closed doors. None of these women are definitely wives, I could tell you that. The mom stepping in, I could see it less as a protection and less of a black-white thing, and white women need to take attention from these athletes. I just think it's family being good family, and there's nothing wrong with that. I expect any mom who loves their son to want them to take in their moment and not regret not taking in that moment on their own and sharing it with somebody who may not be there forever. So less of a cynical look than the internet, who was really tearing up these poor girls who, also on the girls' side, they probably love these guys. Not all girls who date athletes, especially in college, are gold diggers. I said gold diggers. But I think, when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, which most of these girls and men are, you don't have this wherewithal and this common sense to be like, oh, let them have their moment. You want to be a part of it because you've been a part of it. You've been supportive probably if you've been there long enough for a good amount of their football career. You want to share with it. But sometimes you got to take a step back, let them celebrate on their own, be a part of the party after. Or I'm wrong, and they are stealing the shine, in which case, fuck those girls. But I don't think so. But speaking of white people, Cooper DeJean, who was ranked 19th overall, defensive back from Iowa, who came to fame when we had that, black team versus white team argument all over the internet. Videos came out and people were making an all-white team and an all-black team and saying, the all-white team just doesn't have defensive backs. And then out of nowhere comes Cooper DeJean, one of the higher-rated defensive backs in college football, ranked 19 overall again in the NFL draft from Iowa. The jokes I laughed at were that Cooper DeJean was like white people's Jackie Robinson, where he's breaking the color barrier in defensive backs in the NFL. Of course, he goes to the Eagles, and of course he'll probably be fantastic because teams like the Eagles and the Chiefs just get lucky in the draft where they have drafts so far down, and they just find these guys that fall to them. The Patriots used to do it all the time. Where they get some guy in like the second or third round that was valued higher, but he smoked a bong or something, or, he crashed his car, and they draft some guy, and guess what? He never has another problem again, and he's a fantastic NFL athlete. So Cooper DeJean breaking the color barrier. Love to see a white in the defensive backfield, and I wish him all the luck. I was most excited. Now, I didn't watch a lot of the NFL draft live. I watched a lot of the first round, and then I kind of checked Gamecast on my phone for the rest of the days because I'm a busy man. But I was super excited that ESPN nabbed Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. And I tweeted not that long ago that I would pay any amount of money to get Nick Saban and Bill Belichick on a weekly podcast because I think the information that is in those brains, that's in their giant heads, is invaluable. I think their football IQ and their football knowledge and their football experience, I could probably listen to a 3 to 4 hour podcast every week and just listen to them just banter and shoot the shit about what's going on in the NFL and in the football world and telling little stories with each other. I would love that. I would pay the Patreon for that. I'd pay $29.99 a month to listen to a Bill Belichick and Nick Saban podcast. Some moments from the broadcast that came out that was pretty funny. One, the meme of Nick Saban with his little clap hands where he's like, all the jokes coming out about him doing that was pretty funny. You don't normally see Nick Saban happy or excited. He always looked pissed. I think the only time I saw him smile was when they gave him the national championship trophy one year, and they gave it to him. He smiled, and then he immediately stopped smiling, and that was it. But he had plenty. Nick Saban, at least, had plenty of positive reviews for his performance. One of the bigger news stories that kind of got overlooked was how he admitted to tampering with Toledo's cornerback Quinion Mitchell, saying he was our number one guy in the portal last year to try to get him to come out of the portal, and he would never get in the portal. I guess you can say shit like that now when you're long out of college football. But also Bill Belichick, a little news on his own, where Pat McAfee basically seems to offer him a job for Monday Night Football recaps in the fall.
You get hired. How about every Monday this fall?
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Damn.
Hey, let's go. Let's go. Let's see if we can work that out.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
But with Saban and Bill Belichick, their performances in the broadcast just lead me to believe that they're already hooked up with ESPN. Let's get you know what? Get rid of the Peyton Manning cast. I'm over it. Get a Saban Belichick cast. I would tune into the Nick Saban Bill Belichick cast. I want the podcast like overtime like Bill Maher does. I want the regular broadcast. I want the overtime cast. And then I want a weekly podcast. And I would pay for all of that. Take all my money. Take all my time. Just to see a little personality out of Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. Would love to see it. But first round of the draft, really the only round I paid attention to. My Dolphins draft, not in the top 10, as I said before. A couple highlights. I was pretty excited to get in the first 3 rounds. Edge rusher, Chop Robinson from Penn State University. And with a name like Chop, how can you go wrong? And, of course, he has comments as he's waiting to be drafted where he wants to go to Miami. He actually says something about not wanting to pay LA taxes when he's not taken by the Rams, which is hilarious. But I know he's going to be a stud because here he is on the couch waiting to be drafted, drinking a Capri Sun. And if there's anything I love more than football, it's an ice-cold Capri Sun. Capri Sun sponsorship coming, maybe. Who knows? That's a free ad, Capri Sun. I will say about edge rushers, not necessarily Chop Robinson, but edge, seeing edge in the draft category. It didn't used to say edge. I'm not crazy, right? I feel like edge is a new thing. I feel like it used to say DE, defensive end, or it used to just say, DT, defensive tackle. Now we're very specifically calling this guy an edge rusher. That's got to be new. I don't know where I was when they started doing that, but they also go out and grab Patrick Paul, who, you don't often get up for an offensive tackle. But Patrick Paul, longest arms for tackles at the combine. I don't know. They didn't say anything about speed or athleticism, but just long arms, longest arms. You got to get excited for longest, largest arms. There's nothing you can't get. If they said he had the shortest arms, you'd go, well, that sucks. Longest arms, show me some excitement. So Patrick Paul, I'm excited for you as a Dolphins fan. Bring those long arms down to Miami. Let's see what they could do. And of course, Jalen Wright, running back from Tennessee, who ran the 40 in 4.38, which is insane. I've already heard some analysts coming out and saying probably one of the steals of the draft just because of his speed and how awesome he was at Tennessee last season. Also good coming out of the backfield, has some soft hands from what I hear. But the Dolphins love speed and apparently long arms. So that's my Dolphins draft recap. Welcome to the team, boys. We need all the help we can fucking get. But the NFL draft, just to round up my draft recap, it's a day where every football fan has hope. And they have hope for their team, they have hope for the next season, and they have hope for the future. And I think that's what makes the NFL draft so special, is that it's filled with hope. And that all lasts at least until week 1, and then it all becomes a reality. But until then, stay hopeful. The NFL is just around the corner. So excited. We'll have players reporting for OTAs soon. We already have all the videos these guys train year-round now because they're just athletic studs and athletic freaks. So everybody's already meeting up, doing some programs together, working out, posting workout videos. We'll get more and more NFL content every single day until the season starts, which I think now is, I want to say it's the end of August. We got to get through preseason shit, but very excited for football, very excited for Dolphins football, very excited to add some more jerseys into my Jersey Hall of Fame. Very excited to start betting on the NFL again, as I ended last season insanely, just hitting all types of parlays. I was linked in on anytime touchdowns. I crushed against the spread in the playoffs. Looking forward to the NFL. God, you can hear my excitement. I'm excited for the NFL. But the NFL draft, always an experience. Looking forward. Let me take that back. I'm not looking forward to the NFL draft 2025 in Green Bay, Wisconsin just yet. But like a poop, I'm sure we'll get there. And now, poor decisions. Farewell, John Sterling. The voice of Yankees radio for 36 years has chosen to retire from the Pinstripe Army. His reasoning?
My tank is empty.
And as a final thank you for his years of dedicated service to the organization, the Yankees presented Sterling with a few parting gifts. Tino Martinez showed up and delivered a set of sterling silver Yankees cufflinks. Thoughtful. Haley Swindle, George Steinbrenner's granddaughter, offered on behalf of the Steinbrenner family a personalized Yankees jersey with the announcer's last name and the number 5,631 on the back, representing the total of Yankees games he called with the team. Wow. Heartfelt. And Michael Kay, voice of the Yankees, delivered a silver microphone, sterling silver, engraved with,
presented to John Sterling, in recognition of your legendary career as radio voice of the New York Yankees, 1989 to 2024. Ball game over. Yankees win. April 20th, 2024.
I mean, you can't get any better than that. And finally, Gleyber Torres and Aaron Boone trotted out of the dugout with an 83-inch LG TV as a gift from the entire Yankees team. And of course, LG is the official TV of the New York Yankees. Leave it to the Yankees to ruin a heartfelt ceremony with a sponsored segment, which was not lost on fans and reporters who called the TV gag confusing, cold, and cheap. I can get behind the confusing part. After all, what does an 85-year-old retiree do with an 83-inch flat screen TV? I'm not a lip reader, but even in the video, he kind of seems like, well, why? What are you giving me this for? I'd imagine he wants to be doing old man stuff, like fishing, golfing, and making the early bird special. But after a quick search for the TV online, this sucker is worth upwards of $3,500. Who needs heartfelt gifts when you have cold hard cash, baby? Sell that sucker, John Sterling. Enjoy your retirement. May it be filled with health and happiness. And thank you for lending your voice to the team I love for literally my entire life. Now let's send John off the right way with a farewell from the bleachers and, of course, his final home run call.
John Sterling! John Sterling! John Sterling!
And the pitch hit in the air to deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone. It's a grand slam. Non dimenticar. That ball sure traveled far. Giancarlo, he hits a grand slam deep in the left field seats. And the Yankees take a 5-1 lead.
Kelsey, Plum, and Darren Waller, you've been cut off. Las Vegas Aces guard and back-to-back WNBA champion Kelsey Plum and longtime husband of 1 year NFL tight end Darren Waller have filed for divorce. This comes on the heels of Plum's social media post a few days ago where she says, "I'm devastated. I've walked through fire for that man, but now I see it's time to go. God has given me an incredible life, and I'm truly so grateful for the profound love from my family and friends. One day, I'll share my story. Today is not that day. Thank you for the grace to process my pain, to forgive and move forward. Today and every day, I will continue to choose joy. Much love. KP. Philippians 1:6. And Waller has since given us this TikTok of him seemingly dancing to the divorce news. For starters, I feel for Plum and Waller. Divorce is never an easy decision, and I wish them the best. Now that that's out of the way, Plum would be the type of girl who puts a Bible verse at the end of statements. I'm not doing homework to see what you are trying to cryptically say. Just tell me. And the social media notes that message is totally expected from such a quirky goofball who eats popcorn like that horse girl you remember from whatever and wherever you are now picturing her from. We all have one in mind. The internet seems to think Waller is breaking up with Plum because of how she eats popcorn. Others seems to think Waller cheated on Plum, and that is the cause of their separation. Me? I don't care. But I think I speak for everyone when I tell these two, get offline and go touch grass. And for your own good, popcorn and dancing are off limits for the foreseeable future because you've been cut off. And now, last call. Reggie Bush gets his groove back. Now that student athletes are officially getting paid and the NIL runs rampant through all college athletic departments, the Heisman Trust has realized how ridiculous it was to take Reggie Bush's Heisman 14 years ago and has returned it to its rightful owner. I guess better late than never. The Heisman Trust had this to say after their monumental decision. Recognizing that the compensation of student athletes is an accepted practice and appears here to stay, these fundamental changes in college athletics led the trust to decide that now is the right time to return the trophy to Bush, who unquestionably was the most outstanding college football player of 2005. I had a friend who went to the University of Florida during the 2007 and 2011 football seasons. So think Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, Percy Harvin, Pouncey Twins, Aaron Hernandez, Joe Hayden. The list goes on and on. They were stacked for those 4 years. He would tell me that the football team were all driving around in luxury cars, flashing and spending lots of cash around town, wearing nice jewelry, and not one of them was working outside of football. So where was it all coming from? I guess the legal term now is pre-NIL deals. Regardless, the one thing I love about sports and sports organizations is that eventually they get it and are on the right side of history. Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball. Michael Sam and inevitably Carl Nassib coming out as gay in the NFL. Caitlin Clark recently breaking college scoring records and putting more eyes on female athletes receiving equal treatment among broadcasters and more equitable pay from the WNBA. But nothing happens overnight. And sports moves quicker than, say, the wheels of justice. The Heisman Trust, recognizing players are now able to officially get paid and annulling punishments for doing so prior to the NIL deals of today, seems like a common sense decision. Kind of like how marijuana being legalized and available in states across the U.S. has allowed thousands of people imprisoned for simple possession to be set free by the federal and local governments. Oh wait, no, that still hasn't happened. So as much as we like to complain about sports and sports organizations being slow-moving, incompetent decision makers, and overall snail-like adapters to the current landscape, try to remember regular life is so much worse. But at least Reggie got his Heisman back. And that wraps up episode 9 of Sports on the Rocks with Ken Larimer. If you love the show, you can always catch new episodes on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. If you're watching this show on YouTube, please like and subscribe and share If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and shoot me a follow so you get updates on new episodes. The next episode will be double digits, episode 10 of Sports on the Rocks with Ken Larimer. Very exciting. And I'm going to start having these come out, I think, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Going to be a little quicker with getting these out to you guys and gals. And you could always stay updated on social media with me and the pod at SportsOTRocks. And that'll be on Instagram and IG Reels, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. And I will be starting to put out more clips and little shorts on IG Reels and TikTok as long as the United States lets us. But lots of new content to look forward to. Best time of the year for sports right now and moving forward, as we have the NBA playoffs I didn't even touch on in this episode. It'll be on the next one. We have NHL playoffs. We have the NFL quickly approaching OTAs. And also the preseason, and then the regular season is really going to fly up and creep right up on us. We have the Olympics in Paris 2024. Not everybody cares, but there will be stuff to talk about, I'm sure. And we also still have Live PGA action going on. Still can't get it together, and I'll talk about that on future episodes as well. So once again, this wraps up Sports on the Rocks with Ken Larimer, episode 9, episode 10 coming out soon. Stay up to date at SportsOTRocks on social media. Follow, like, and subscribe to the Spotify, the YouTube, and Apple Podcasts to get new episodes. And I really appreciate you guys listening and watching. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all very soon. Adios, and don't forget to tip your bartenders.